like to call this meeting to order. This is a city council work session. It is 6 p.m. on Monday, July 28th. Please stand for the pledge of the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the first item on the agenda is RL 25-124, considered in MPA. Our presenter is Alumni Porter, and the chair, which will be leading the discussion, is council member, or not the chair, MPA member is council member Rathmel. Oh, excuse me. We gotta do a roll call.
Councilmember Murray.
Present.
Councilmember Middleton is absent. Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Present.
Councilmember Rathmel.
Present.
Councilmember Matavetsky.
Present.
Council President Dundon is absent. Council President Pro Tem Hotchkiss.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Rathmel, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. This is RL 25-124, a resolution recommending the mayor initiate the removal process of the City of Binghamton Chief of Police. It was submitted by Binghamton resident Alumni Porter, who is here to present. Could you share?
My name is Alumni Porter, former resident of Binghamton. I came here today to present this as a way to somehow, I know that as city council, because I was formerly on it at once, you do not have any control over a termination of the police chief or anything in a sense, but this is a way to, by having this resolution, this is a way to try to figure out a way to maybe convince or help initiate the process with the mayor to do so. Or at least have some kind of record that there was an attempt. So here we are again with possible misconduct. And now it's somebody that's higher up. And we all have, I don't know if anybody here has witnessed, but I have witnessed a video that has been on the internet, viral, so viral that I know Councilman Kavanaugh wouldn't like this so much, but it made it all the way down in Newport News. So much my sister has sent me this. And I just find that leadership is something's going on with leadership that is not a part of the city. That's a great big issue. And I just want to touch on a few things, such as which lovely Councilwoman Rathmel had touched on while she put on Facebook. All this is what I gave to y'all was just a reminder of the things that was based, especially dealing with the recommendation, and then the things that that was considered conclusions that was made by the investigative that investigated into what happened on in January 1st of 2023. So basically, I'm dealing with the leadership of failure to intervene and failure to follow arrest procedures. I think that alone in the leadership that made it much of an issue. If he's not going to follow the things that are set, that is meant to be set, then that seems to be that leadership fails. Thing is also leadership failing is patients that were set from Attorney General James, was the fact that those recommendations were thumbed, like thumb and nose, or nose and thumb, whatever the fact was, it was just dismissed. Didn't even bother trying to say, okay, all right, so if you find these issues, let's try to fix it, or let me prove you that these things can be done. So that issue of leadership is quite an atrocity. And I just figured I'd give it examples of abuse of power to show that, you know, maybe if being in former healthcare, if you find 2 or more symptoms, that tends to be the issue. That will be the set forth the diagnosis of what the problem are. So if the symptoms are shown, then you wait, correct. If you, I'll just read off the examples, and maybe, you know, you'll think if that follows with those these symptoms. Withholding or manipulating critical information. Undermining behavior by interrupting, crucifying, or ridiculing someone. Making unreasonable demands. Not tolerating contradiction. Making someone pay for their mistakes. Systematically denying or ignoring someone's merits. Putting own interests before the interests of the organization. Constantly reminding employees that they can maybe fired or replaced. Humiliating an employee in front of colleagues. Condescending, responding to questions from an employee or colleague. Enforcing company policy and imposing rules on others without following themselves. So out of this list, you can probably find maybe 2 or more that would consider the leadership would be of the police chief would be problematic. So I put this forth to hopefully this will help the council to initiate something going on, to talk to the mayor or work with the mayor about this police chief. So that's what I got. I thank you for allowing me to speak.
Yeah, alumni, I appreciate you introducing the resolution, elevating the concern from a community, from a resident standpoint. I know I've certainly had a lot of outreach following the incident. There are a handful of points that I just want to, I think, make in terms of just kind of the general understanding of the process, the current status. I know you started out by saying in some ways council doesn't necessarily have authority. And so just a handful of pieces to touch on. So in terms of initiating any movement, so the incident that you're referencing occurred on July 18th. Chief Sikorsky was placed on administrative leave on July 20th. The civil service process is dictated by Chapter 124 of the city code and state law. So there are specific steps within that do need to be followed as any investigation is pursued. The city has retained, and I know you know this information, the city has retained an independent investigator to review the incident. The target timeline to have the investigation completed would be approximately 30 days, but there are variables outside of the city's control that could impact that timeline. It's true that council doesn't have a role to play in the investigation itself, but we have confirmed that the final report will be made public. If misconduct is identified, it is council's position that charges should be brought swiftly, but the final authority for deciding to bring charges or impose any disciplinary action that rests fully with the mayor. And then there are two sections, again, within civil service law that Chief Sikorsky would have the right to either a hearing or to appeal. So I think the city, in moving forward with an investigation, putting Chief Sikorsky pretty immediately on administrative leave, has initiated this process of inquiry and attempts toward accountability. And in terms of community opportunities, I think that's one thing. I know many residents have strong feelings about the video and what they observed. And I think I want to, I guess, just emphasize, like, we do want to hear from residents. Like, residents are, I know you are familiar with this process and you sat in this chamber, and but we are interested in hearing from residents, letting this be a space where they can process if they feel that they need that space to process. These meetings are public and they are recorded. So if folks feel like it would be helpful for them to process in community and in this space and in a way that goes on record, we absolutely welcome that. I don't think I have any questions, but again, thank you for presenting.
Okay.
Does anybody else have anything?
Quickly share. I definitely appreciate you, having this conversation. I think, like many of us, I'm deeply disturbed by what I saw, and I echo our Councilwoman's Rathmel's sentiments. I appreciate you also clarifying the timeline and clarifying what City Council's role is in this process. And, with it being an open investigation, it's, pretty limited in what we can share, but I do want it to go on record, at least just for my behalf, that, what we saw, what is out there, what the parent, what that young man, what his friends had to endure is deeply disturbing.
Thank you. Anybody else? And I see you have a request for expedition.
Oh, well,
Still
yeah,
on it?
I didn't. Again, I think I did.
Anybody want to make a motion to expedite or not?
I think my discussion would just be, I wouldn't intend to expedite because I'm not sure what we're expediting, but that shouldn't be taken to mean that we don't support the sentiment of initiating the process and support the city in the process that has been initiated. I don't know if you still feel that it needs to be expedited after.
To be honest, I really don't think it really needs to be
Okay.
expedited, so.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so with that, we're gonna move on to our next agenda item, which is RL 25-122, considered in Public Works with Councilmember Murray. And we're gonna welcome down Josh Paludi, the Acting Director of Public Works.
Thank you. So this is RL 25-122, which is an ordinance to amend the 2025 budget to increase overtime and materials for DPW. Hello, and can you tell us more about this?
Good evening, everybody. As everybody knows, we got a pretty bad storm a few weeks ago, and my guys showed up in a big way to get all that cleaned up. There was a lot, over 600 hours of overtime the guys worked all through 4th of July weekend. The whole few weeks after that, they'd work a full shift and stay between 2 and 4 hours over to try and finish getting all the debris off the streets and getting everything cleaned up. That's where this overtime money's coming from. It's just something you can't budget for. It's something you don't see coming, and it came out of nowhere fast and furious. And I just want to make sure we have enough to cover for the rest of the year. These overtime lines aside from emergency stuff and our basic overtime, it also all the events that we do. We still have quite a few events to go this summer, live on the waterfront, Porchfest, Garlic Fest, LUMA, Blues on the Bridge, BU's Parents Weekend, Columbus Day Parade. These are all huge events that we have that take up a lot of overtime and manpower. And that's why I'm asking for that money. As for the materials that we need, in the construction material line, that is for our patch. So as everybody sees this summer or this winter, our roads took a pretty heavy beating. We did a whole lot of patching this year, along with a large amount of what we call dig outs or cutouts. What a dig out is or a cutout is a large area, 30 by 20, 30 by 50. It's a big, large area where we go down typically between 12 and 14 inches to find the sub base and get it nice and make it stable. We've had probably 25, 30 of those that we've completed already, and I still think we have 5 or 6 very large ones left to go. It takes a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of material to do that. And the last one is for our traffic safety signs and paint. Last year, we bought a brand new sign making machine, which I'm happy to announce is going great. We've made over 150 new signs that we put up throughout the city, whether it's no parking, stop signs, no trespassing, any kind of basic street sign we can make with these, and it's going great. The thing is, the material for it is rather expensive. We went through way more than I thought we would. We were definitely moving forward with the sign machine and getting stuff changed out. And pedestrian safety is a huge, huge issue nowadays. We're putting down more paint for crosswalks. We've added a bunch of crosswalks throughout the city this year. And we typically try to get 60 to 65% of the streets painted every year and then start where we fall short the next year. I think we're on track to do probably 90, maybe even 100% this year to get the whole city painted with added crosswalks in certain areas. I've for the paint and stuff, I've looked forward into the budget for next year to try and make it so we don't have this problem again.
Gonna add with the crosswalks, we're now a lot of them doing the hashing too, which takes more paint than just the
Yep,
bars.
every crosswalk is now the ladder style.
So before we had the sign machine, how are we getting the signs made?
We were actually purchasing fully made signs, which was really expensive.
Okay.
We would typically really wait as long as we possibly could to replace a sign. Where now, because it's way less, we'll say, okay, this one's it's time. Let's just change it out. And it's half the cost because we take that sign, strip it, and make a new one out of it again.
Anybody have anything else? Sir.
I appreciate that all the signs have changed out that I've requested.
You know, we do our best to keep up with all your guys' requests.
All right, if there's nothing else, thanks for coming down. And we're gonna move on to RL 25-123, again, considered in Public Works and Parks. Our presenter is Ron Lake, and leading the discussion will be Councilmember Murray.
Thank you. This is RL 25-123. It's a resolution to enter into an agreement with Keystone Associates for construction, administration, inspection services.
Okay, I'll try to give you the Reader's Digest version. Last year, you authorized me to hire Keystone for inspections on the replacement of the trail behind the Binghamton Plaza. And the inspector was Gary Webb. He turned out to be a very good inspector. So his job is done. Keystone doesn't really have any more work for him this year. So I made a deal with Keystone to get him at the cost of what it costs Keystone to do it. So it's probably about $30 to $40 an hour less than what we were just paying them. And I do need an inspector. I got work and I need somebody out there watching it.
I noticed the relatively low hourly in the contract and versus their normal table of
Yes.
wages. So that was,
Yes, I think we were just paying somewhere between 80 and 100, and now we got him for like 52.
Yeah.
And that will really help me finish out the construction this year.
so he'll get deployed to kind of general street reconstruction jobs and such and super
He'll-
jobs, or what?
You'll start out helping with the deco right now because this inspector I had on it had a foot operation and whatnot. I can't let him out in the field, so he's doing our MS4 work for DEC. So he will replace your old chief engineer there, who was Ray, and he's being charged at like $180 an hour. So every hour that I can get him in there and pull Ray back, that'll save us money. And then we got another new construction job coming out that I'll put him on. But I think he'll save us a lot of money for the rest of the year if you'll authorize it.
I know your department's stretched thin trying to keep up with everything, and I know I've asked about
Yeah. Right.
some work that just is getting put on the back burner right now. So yeah.
Right now, we're very thin.
Thank you for pursuing a somewhat out of the box solution to
We
make it
need,
work.
we got to
Yeah.
get it done, and I
Yeah.
need somebody there to watch them.
Is this something that you could bring in-house if you had the budget to do it? Or,
I don't think he wants a permanent job.
okay,
He usually takes off in the winter.
gotcha.
If that weren't true, I'd love to have him. He's been a great asset on that trail.
Gotcha.
And I'm sorry, you may have covered this already. So with us receiving his support at a significantly lower rate, is it that we're just paying partial amount of his salary and Keystone is paying the other? Is it like a shared service?
No, we're paying what Keystone pays him with maybe a 1 or 2% markup. That's
So-
it.
But then when we contract with him, we're paying $100.
Because that was under a bid that we went through.
Oh,
And typically when we get an inspector from the engineering companies,
yeah,
they're all up there at close to 100
I
now.
got it. Okay.
So this
The
just happened-
overhead for accounting and lawyer, legal and all of that for the company.
This
goes
just-
into their.
This just happened that I could negotiate with them because I didn't have any more work for them, but yet they wanted to try to keep them employed for the rest of the year. So we do have a good working relationship with some of the consultants, and I can talk to them.
I'd make the motion to expedite.
Yes, please.
Again,
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, can we take a roll call?
Councilmember Murray,
aye.
Councilmember Middleton is absent, Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Rathmel. Aye. Councilmember Matavetsky.
Aye.
Council President Dundon is absent, Council President Pro Tem Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 5-0.
So Ron, the actual funds to pay this guy will come out of the various project lines that are already,
Yeah, I've got the funding to do it.
thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ron. Next on the agenda is RL 25-126, considered in finance with Councilmember Kavanaugh. And our presenter is Charles Robinson, our comptroller.
Good evening.
So it looks like we forgot to budget for some of the money to borrow money to fund the budget.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take the hit on that one. I Just, I knew I had money in the capital lines. I budgeted enough in the general fund for our normal physical advisor fees, but the bond stuff like bond counsel, Moody's costs, source media for printing and publication, and physical advisors. That's all in the capital fund related to each bond that we do. And last year we did 2 bonds instead of 1. And I just didn't put 2 and 2 together. So
since we've closed 2024 books, this is now adjusting 2025 budget, but the bill is from
yes, the
last
bill,
year's bonds.
Yeah, the bill is from last year's bonds that we got in April of this year, and they're still, they still send bills for their services.
Well, I wouldn't expect them to stop. That would be nice.
So, yeah, most of the bills were for physical advisors and our bond counsel for both of those bonds. And a little bit of the cost was for Moody's for the extra rating, call, and Source Media, who does the publishing for them.
You didn't make a 2-for-1 deal with them last year?
No, didn't even think about that, but I'll try next time. And most of these transfers, I'll just tell you, they're usually transfers from the general fund to the capital fund. So we'll make sure we do those this year, like always.
This is right out of the capital fund, right? And insurance.
Well, yeah, I'm taking some money from the insurance fund and I'm sending it to the capital fund because that's where we usually pay the bills. Because usually for bonds, you pay all the bills out of the bond lines, and that's where we put the physical agent fees too.
Is this going to leave us short in the insurance line later in the year? Or no.
No. I get a report from Excelis and from NFP. We're actually a little bit under for the year.
Don't jinx us.
But that could change on a dime with maybe 3 or 4 high cost claims. So far, everybody's relatively healthy in the city.
Slightly off topic, but do the fiscal advisors ever review our budget?
No, they don't review our budget, but they do review all of our bonds and bans.
Okay. They'd probably pick it up if they noticed that they weren't accounted for in there. So
right, I would imagine that they probably wouldn't care as long as they get paid.
Right. Is there anything else? And is there any motion to expedite on this? You don't need one.
No, I have the bills and they can wait. They waited this long.
Gotcha. Okay.
Any questions?
Nothing else. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
I'll
Second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we're adjourned. All in favor, excuse me.
Aye.
Aye.